follow-ups to the greatest hits. This is Trash Can Tidbits.
Hey there, everybody. My name is Beaton, and this is my show on YouTube, Trash Can Tidbits, and I'm once again inside VR chat. Last time, I asked you the question, which Metallica member plays on the soundtrack to Sinners? The answer is Lars Ulrich. Ulrich has been one of the main founders of Metallica from the very beginning, and his percussionist contributions to the Sinners soundtrack was in the instrumental track Bury That Guitar, scored by the movie's composer, Ludwig Göransson. It's amazing to think that Göransson had Metallica in mind to help elevate the music in that movie to something dark and heavenly at the same time. Now, with that address, let's get started with fact number 1. Did you know that the movie Gone Girl was temporarily shut down because Ben Affleck refused to wear a specific type of clothing? In one part of the movie, Affleck's character of Nick Dunn is sitting in an airport, and the scene called for him to be wearing a New York Yankees baseball cap. Even though it is a very minor fashion choice and had no bearing on the scene itself, Affleck absolutely refused to wear a Yankees cap, as he is, in real life, a die-hard Boston Red Sox fan. Director David Fincher was forced to shut the movie down for 4 days until they came to a compromise. Affleck instead wore a Mets cap. That was the only dispute that Affleck and Fincher had during the making of Gone Girl. Fincher later joked that Affleck's behavior during that kerfuffle was both unprofessional and loyal at the same time. Fact 2. Did you know that the dual releases of Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning during the summer of 2025 is not the first time a Tom Cruise movie has gone up against the famous Disney franchise? The summer of 2002, June specifically, saw the release of the original animated Lilo and Stitch, as well as another Tom Cruise movie, Minority Report. Those two movies were released one day apart on June 16th and 17th, respectively. Minority Report managed to beat Lilo and Stitch to number 1 at the box office. Over 20 years later, on May 23, 2025, history repeated itself, except this time, the live-action remake of Lilo and Stitch beat Mission Impossible by a slight margin. How's that for coincidence, though? And another fun tidbit, Ving Rhames has been a big part of both franchises. He played Cobra Bubbles in the original Lilo and Stitch and was offered the chance to reprise his role in the remake, but scheduling conflicts with Mission Impossible obliged him to play his other iconic role of Luther Stickle one last time. Fact 3 is yet another Lilo and Stitch fact. Really, I really can't get enough of this. Did you know that Chris Sanders, the director of the original movie, as well as the longtime voice of Stitch, pulled double duty during the making of this movie, as well as another movie he directed? Sanders, who's been the creator and voice of Stitch since the very beginning, eventually left Disney in the late 2000s to work at DreamWorks, and went on to co-direct the How to Train Your Dragon series. When Lilo and Stitch was being remade, Sanders agreed to return to voice his iconic character. He ended up doing all of his voice work at DreamWorks while making The Wild Robot at the same time, the first time they provided in-house resources for a Disney project. However, there was one voice clip from him that was from Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch Has a Glitch. Namely, the scene where Stitch squirts Lilo with a soda jerk, pretending it's a gun. Those lines were lifted directly from the original direct-to-video sequel, but were from another scene entirely. Fact 4. Did you know that there was a camera lens that was built specifically for one shot in one specific movie? In the 1962 epic Lawrence of Arabia, there is a moment where the title character encounters the desert warrior Sharif Ali, played by Omar Sharif, who memorably makes his first entrance riding a camel from a large distance in the desert and shoots Lawrence's guide for trespassing and drinking from his well. The way the scene was filmed, it appears as if Ali is emerging through a mirage as he gets closer. The movie's director, Sir David Lean, and cinematographer Freddie Young commissioned Panavision for a lens that was created specifically for this shot. It was a special 482mm lens that could capture objects from a great distance and still retain amazing quality, especially since almost the entire film takes place in the desert. After the shot was completed, the lens was never used again and remains in Panavision's collection to this day and has been lovingly called the David Lean lens. Fact 5. Did you know that another actor was originally going to play the drunken Waco Kid in Blazing Saddles, but was fired because of his real-life alcoholism? Mel Brooks's classic Western parody had Gene Wilder playing the washed-up but skilled gunslinger who becomes the partner of the lead character of Sheriff Bart. After other actors like John Wayne and Dan Daly declined the part, the character was cast with actor Gig Young. Young had been a recent Oscar winner for 1968's drama They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Young was originally set to play Jim, and the farthest they got with him was his introductory scene where he's hanging upside down in a jail cell, asking if Bart is black. But nobody realized that Young had a drinking problem and showed severe signs of withdrawal. Young was let go, Gene Wilder was immediately contacted, and was flown in the next day to play Jim instead. Fact 6. Did you know that Humphrey Bogart, best known for the movie Casablanca, was playing a real-life chess game in his first scene in that movie? Bogey's character of Rick, an American expatriate running a casino in the title Moroccan Village, is introduced playing a game of chess with himself, seemingly with no opponent. I would believe that this is to indicate that his character is a neutral party, not really on the side of any character that comes through his establishment, whether they be foreign refugees or Nazis. But the truth was, he was actually playing a game of chess on set while in correspondence with a friend of his. They would send photos and telegrams back and forth to each other detailing what the next move was. It's unknown to me who won the game, though. Fact 7. Did you know that Shelley Long, well known for playing the snooty and uptight Diane Chambers on Cheers, was largely disliked by many of the cast members on that show? During the first few seasons, Cheers was defined not by its ensemble cast, but by the relationship between Ted Danson's character, Sam Malone, and Long's Diane. Just like their characters, they clashed with each other a lot, and Long similarly clashed with most of the other cast members, most notably Kelsey Grammer as Fraser Crane. Long tried to have him removed from the show many times, but was overruled because the audience liked him. One possible reason why Shelley Long was so difficult to work with was because she disliked working on television and wanted to be in the movies, so when she finally left the show, she got that wish. After Diane left and Kirstie Alley came in as Sam's new love interest / pain in the butt, Rebecca Howe, the show's writers were finally able to have a lot more fun with the rest of the show's characters. Everyone involved said that Kirstie Alley was much easier to work with. As for Kelsey Grammer, when his spin-off show Frasier came along, Shelley Long's guest spot in season 3 was their chance to make amends. And fortunately, they did. Fact 8. Did you know that the use of a Japanese girl band in Kill Bill Volume 1 was almost an afterthought on the part of Quentin Tarantino? During production for the movie, Tarantino was in Tokyo doing location scouting. On the day that he was to leave for the airport, he was in a small souvenir shop killing time and buying some miscellaneous items. The sound system was playing songs from a Japanese girl band called the 5678s. He went up to the clerk, asked the name of the band, and begged to buy the CD from them, as he had no time to go to a music shop to buy it there. After consulting with the manager, they agreed to sell it to him. Once Tarantino was on the plane heading back to California, he listened to the CD and immediately began taking notes. The 5678s are primarily known for their covers of 60s surf rock songs, and Tarantino not only used their song Woohoo for one specific long take in Volume 1's final chapter, but got the band to appear in the movie as well. Fact 9. Did you know that the 1978 Superman film was made during the New York City blackout of 1977? The offices of the real-life newspaper, the New York Daily News, served as a location for filming of the Daily Planet in the film. Scenes were filmed on the actual night of the blackout, July 13, 1977. Despite the citywide darkness, the generators in the building continued to work, filming continued through the night, and the actual newspaper continued to print. The movie's director, Richard Donner, famously and humorously blamed the movie's cinematographer, Jeffrey Unsworth, for causing the blackout, due to all the filming equipment. In actuality, though, the blackout was caused by lightning strikes that knocked out several power grids. Fact 10. Did you know that, at one point, Broadway legend Stephen Sondheim took a shot, so to speak, at writing a musical version of the movie Sunset Boulevard in the 1970s? The story concerns the complicated and tragic relationship between a former silent movie actress who refuses to accept her stardom as ended and a broke screenwriter who becomes her lover. Sondheim wanted to try to make it first as a Broadway musical and even as a TV movie. He had even gotten far as writing the first scene. After a meeting with the movie's director, Billy Wilder, however, Sondheim was persuaded that Sunset couldn't be made into a musical, it could only be made into an opera. In Wilder's own words, which are rather spot on, the story is about a dethroned queen. Sondheim agreed and abandoned the project. It wasn't until a decade later that Andrew Lloyd Webber came forward with his own sweeping orchestrations, and the Sunset musical became a reality. Webber had actually already written the song As If We Never Said Goodbye as a sort of theme song for the movie. You know, with this whole revelation, I sometimes wonder how Stephen Sondheim's version would have turned out. Oh well. Here's today's trivia question. With the release of James Gunn's Superman, this bold new take does something that Zack Snyder wasn't really able to get right with him: heart. But I actually want to roll back the clock and talk about the 2006 movie Superman Returns. While it was a decent movie at the time, some things I look back and go, well, what were they thinking? One of these things was the decision to cast Kate Bosworth as Lois Lane. Bosworth's version of Lois is supposed to be more cynical due to Superman's long absence, and in the movie, she won a Pulitzer for an article she writes called Why the World Doesn't Need Superman. Not only that, but she also has a 5-year-old son. Looking back, it was clear that she was way too young for the part. My question is, how old was Kate Bosworth when she played Lois Lane in Superman Returns? And there we go for this episode. I really hope you enjoyed me bringing some more cool stuff to the table. And as always, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring the bell to be notified for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.